The khatira for tonight. Last year I made Friday a day for fundraising for the masjid. So somebody that I have so much respect and love and trust said, Sheikh, don't do that next year. Just make one fundraising on the 27th, okay? And I said, okay, maybe two, just, and also one silent and maybe one in the 27th. Okay, so he said, don't worry, Sheikh. This community never, alhamdulillah, turned you down. So I'm gonna trust Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then trust this advice of this brother, and trust you guys. So I'm not gonna make any fundraising on Friday, just announcements after Jummah, that's about it. We'll do, inshallah, just let you know the plan. We'll do on the 21st or the 23rd, I'm not sure yet, one silent that usually we do. And the 27th, we do an act of fundraising. So just in case, what's the plan? Like, the khatira for tonight is about an issue in modern days. Also, a lot of people ask about it, which is marrying in the court, in the civil court, or divorce in the civil court, consider Islamically a valid marriage and consider Islamically a valid divorce? And also, what, Sheikh, if I don't know, whatever you're answering right now, let's say different than what I did years ago, is that means all these years my marriage was not valid, was not correct? What is the rule on this? Because that's a lot of people have this confusion. Number one, registering the marriage officially in the government is meant and intended to protect the rights, not to make it a valid in front of Allah. Even in Muslim country, like the marriage in the time of the Prophet ﷺ used to be the father or the Wali of the woman, the man in front of him, she agreed. The Wali said, you marry my daughter, yes, I accept. They agree on the Mahr, the witness, it's public, done. The registration of the marriage in official capacity and being documented in government, that came later on after the modernization of the state to protect the rights. So people know what their rights are, if anything happened, for mirath, inheritance, so far. So people are protected. And divorce, so people will be held accountable, and so forth. So that's the purpose of the documentation of that marriage. So the same thing in American court, it's for the purpose of documenting your marriage or documenting your divorce to make sure that legally in front of the system you're married, you are, divorced. As for Islamically, what I want you to understand that in order for any marriage to be valid, in order for this marriage to be valid in Islam, there has to be a husband and wife, or a representative of both, or one of them, and there is offered an acceptance. It means, would you marry so-and-so? Yes, I agree. And that so-and-so is the right person. I'll tell you a funny story. I was in a wedding once in the house. So I said, what's the bride? You're the bride? She said, yes. What's your name, sister? My name is Aisha. I said, okay, mashallah, the groom, what's your name? Muhammad. I said, Muhammad, would you accept Aisha to be your wife? He said, yes, I accept. Aisha, would you accept Muhammad to be the wife of Aisha? She said, yes, I accept. I said, congratulations, sister. She said, no, the married one is my sister. The bride is my sister. I said, what the heck you've been doing all this day? Yes, I accept. I think. Aisha في الدور مسكينة يعني. I said, how can you make an offer and acceptance for you ask me. So I asked you to marry him. I said, oh, my sister is so shy to come out. I said, what's your sister's name? She said, Safiya. Yeah, even completely different name. So is she married to him right now? No, because the intention is not that. Also because she's married and her husband, mashallah, them smiling so big on his face. I'm marrying your wife and you're smiling. Anyway, so it has to be the same person, okay? Anyway, it's just interesting. Also, you need a wali. And I'm saying this because sometimes I found some young people, what they do, have a girl in the college or in high school, would you marry me? I marry you, or at work, and khalas, that's it. No, and Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, any marriage happen without wali, this marriage is invalid. قال باطل فنكاحها باطل. Somebody said, oh, but the Ahnaf said, the Ahnaf. I don't care. That's what your Prophet ﷺ said. That's what the Prophet ﷺ said. And that's why Imam Shafi'i rahimahullah was very, very strict about what this. This is one of the things that the scholars were very strong statements against Abu Hanifa rahimahullah for just opening the door without the wali. But they said that's what Nabi Sallallahu have already made that done. And that's why when somebody came to me and said, I done this, without wali, we tell them, your marriage is not invalid, but is missing one of the pillars. You need to go to the Shaykh and the Shaykh will renew the contract for you. But your marriage is not zina, is not haram, your children are okay. But that's how strict this is. Even Abu Hanifa's students, Abu Yusuf, disagreed with him. After he went to Malik and he found the ahadith are authentic, that the Nabi Sallallahu said invalid. Anyway, so you need that as well. And also you need one of the conditions for marriage to be valid is according to some of the fuqaha, that there is mahr. But the correct opinion, the marriage is valid, but the mahr is must. And the mahr has to be something of value. Yani has an actual value. It's not like, my mahr to you, Habibti, is my love. Keep your love for yourself, ya Habibi. No, mahr, it has to be a tangible thing. My mahr for you is, inshallah, whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us, we are all together in it. No, it cannot be that. Okay, it has to be giving right away or later on, it doesn't matter. That will defer or in the spot. There is nothing shame of this. I just want to tell you guys, it's very weak hadith, even though it's famous. Brothers, don't be mad at me. But it's very weak hadith. Which is the most blessed marriage, the one who have less mahr. Yeah, exactly. That hadith is very, very weak hadith. Okay? So nobody used this hadith. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, if you give one of them qintar, a ton of gold, or you give her few dirham. And Nabi Sallallahu married a woman over 300 pieces of silver and gold, and most of his marriages was 5 pieces. So it depends on the woman, it depends on the situation, it's a gift that the husband decide what he wants to do. And with this, I want to say to family, please don't burden your young boys and young brothers who want to get married. Like I know one brother just graduated, he wanted to marry, they said $70,000. But I just want to tell me how a young, fresh graduate will be able to give $70,000. Tell me. How will be able to offer that? Or 100,000. I've been to a marriage, 300,000. And that's his condition. I just want to know, unless he inherits from his father, a big amount of money, or somebody comes from a very rich family. Otherwise, people not get married. And why would you put him in a debt? It become you and his student loan? Two debt that he has to live with them. Yeah, but also I'm against a mahr like $1. Well, I don't do it in our masjid. I don't do stuff like that. Dollars? No, ya habibi. Dollars does have no value. It's a joke. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned this in the Quran, and He told me $1. Give something, it has a value. Even if you say that $100, $200, $500, $1,000, it depends. But this is a serious matter, so it has to be something of value. لذلك الله يقول ومن لم يستطع منكم طولا يعني ما عنده مال. You don't have money to marry, don't marry. That's what the Quran said. Stay afif, stay trusted. Not to be rich, but to be able to offer something to open a house. Okay? Also, so that's also one thing of ulama rahimahullah said, that the marriage has to be public, not secret. In marriage, we don't have secret. The marriage is so beautiful thing. It cannot be born in darkness. It has to be born in light. And what secret means? Secret means nobody else knows. Completely have to be sealed from everybody. Yani, even your closest friend, her neighbors, your neighbor, and if people see you, what are they gonna think? That there's something going on not right. Public, it doesn't mean you have to put it in your Facebook. Okay? Not public, not everybody has to know about it. But at least the family of the woman, the family of the closest people around you. Okay. Is my wife need to know that I married another one? Okay? Obviously, I'm not gonna lie. This is not a condition to make your second marriage valid. But it is a disaster for your marriage. It's not gonna make it adultery and zina, but it is a disaster. Wallahi, I never want to see this position for anyone. I was attending a funeral of a brother who passed away. In the funeral, a sister came and she is his second wife. His wife doesn't know. She pray for him or pray against him. تدعو له ولا تدعو عليه. It's the worst position ever. Yeah, I don't want to see, and this is something was one of the hardest things ever I dealt with in somebody's death. Now I'm dealing with the musibah of the death. Now the musibah of, there is somebody else that he's my husband. We've been married for 3 years. If you want to marry, be a man and just say it. And you deal with your family about it. And deal with your lawyers for a legal thing. But you cannot have it in a secret. It's not fair also for your wife. That's not fair for her. What if you have a disease? What if you have any problems? What if this is not fair for it. That's why it's not correct. And this person should be, open about it. Marriage cannot be in secret. يقول عائشة رضي الله عنها, what differentiates adultery from marriage, al-i'lan, ad-duf, the declaration, the party. That would differentiate adultery from marriage. So if these conditions altogether were there in front of the judge, when you go to the clerk, your marriage is valid in the court. But if there is something missing, you need to go to the masjid, and just to make sure that these are fulfilled in order for this marriage to be valid. Sheikh, I did the marriage and contract in court a long time ago. We've been 30 years. All what you need, just quietly, you can just renew that in front of one of the sheikh. I've done this a lot of time for people who didn't know before about the rules. And alhamdulillah, you're ignorant about this will not make your marriage invalid or anything like that. نقول نحن في الفقهاء عندهم تعبير يقولون هذا النكاح هذا العقد الصحيح لكن فاسد. Is accepted, like, and there is something invalid in it. We can be corrected later on. Inshallah, in another khartirah we talk about the issue of divorce. But please make sure that the marriage is done correctly. Yes, further.
If there's no wali, imam of the masjid can be the wali.
If the sister did not have a wali, a wali is her father who is not available, or dead, or your uncle, or grandfather, or an adult child. Can the imam be? Yes, the imam can be the wali for her in a case where there is no wali available, or not somebody consider a wali for her. Yes.
There is no mahr on the contract or in the marriage. Let's make the marriage valid.
No, if there is no mahr, the marriage is still valid, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Quran, وَإِن طَلَّقْتُمُهُنَّ وَلَمْ تَفْرِضُوا لَهُنَّ فَرِيضًا. If you divorce them and no mahr was assigned. You cannot divorce a woman unless you already married to her. So that ayah implies and clearly stated that your marriage is valid even if you did not make the mahr. But the mahr must be given. So if this person died and he never gave her a mahr, before we divide the inheritance, we give the mahr to her. And during the Prophet ﷺ, this is exactly what happened. And the Nabi ﷺ gave her the mahr equal to her sisters or to his brothers, whatever kind of mahr was given to somebody like this woman. Will be taken from his money and given to him. Like Allah. Yes.
إذا كان فقيه هو ولي المرأة وإذا كان الاثنين كيف يقوم ذلك؟
كيف؟
إذا عدم الشاهدين نقول الشاهدين يكونوا عدلين والعدل هو الذي لا يقوم بالكبائر ويتجنب الصغائر كيف يكون الحكم في ذلك في دار الغربة؟
No, al-adl, it doesn't mean the person who doesn't commit sins. Al-adl, it means somebody who is, somebody who is trusted. Yani will not lie, will not. That's what the ulama rahimahullah said. If you're going to say no fasiq can be ever wali or can be ever witness, قال النووي رحمه الله, this is Nawawi in his time, قال لن يوجد ولي ولا عدل أكثر الناس فساق. He said rahimahullah in his time, he said you're verily gonna be able to find someone. And he said that's not correct. What it is as long as he's Muslim, as long as he's not very well known, open of being so bad person, is accepted, even if he committed some of these sins. But in two witnesses is easy, alhamdulillah. Some ulama said that witnesses is must, and I do believe that they must. But if you replace some people said replacing the witness by publicity, like the Hanabila said, is to become public. But I don't think that's correct, because the witnesses, their role is to document the conditions and to document that in this particular day he married her, in this particular he promised this kind of mahr, this kind of conditions on him and so forth. Let's stop here, inshallah. After you go ahead.
بالنسبة للمهر أنا قرأت بعض العلماء لابد يدفع المهر للزوجة عن كتابة العقد.
The mahr, can it be deferred? Yes, can be deferred. For عهد النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم, they deferred. أجلوا جزء منه. But the sunnah and the best way is to give the mahr in front. But sometimes the mahr is big, like $15,000. And I'm going to do the party, I'm going to do the marriage. So I'm going to give 5 right now and 10 later on, inshallah, during. But remember, guys, قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم, anyone marry a woman and promise her a mahr, and in his intention not to give it to her, لقي الله زانيا, meets Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as a zani, as an adulterer. And anyone take a loan from someone in this person's heart and intention not to give it back, لقي الله سارقا, meets Allah as a thief. جزاكم الله خير.